All right. So we're continuing on with our series on outreach, proper prospecting, effective prospecting, as opposed to the awful shove your offer into somebody's face who you're not even connected with yet, and then wonder why they brush it away, So that doesn't work for me. That's not how I do it. Okay. So over the last few days, we've looked at a system of qualifying prospects, right? Need, budget, personality, fit. We look for these three things, and they need to be check, check, check. Yes, yes, yes. If one is a no, they're not a fit for us. Okay. We're not going to try and turn that person into a client or a customer. So if they don't have a problem that they admit to having that we can fix, nope. If they don't have a size of the problem to warrant our involvement in fixing, we're not going to do it. And if they have a personality that isn't good for us to work with, we're not going to do it. Any one of those things is missing, they're not a good lead for us. Okay. So that's great, but when you're doing your initial outreach, trying to connect to somebody, especially over social media, it's fine to do that in a cold call, right? But what about LinkedIn or Facebook, right? What can you do to find out ahead of time if this person that you're looking to connect with is likely to be a good fit, lead, or not? All right. And fortunately, the answer is simple, but it takes a little bit of effort. Oh no. So no more spamming. No more spamming people. I see a lot of people message me because they got my name out of a SaaS group, and they'll tell me software as a service. They'll tell me this. Okay. Hey, I saw you were in the SaaS group, so I thought we should connect. Bam. Oh, by the way, this is what I do. Right. You didn't even see if it was relevant to me or not. Okay. That's not good. Don't do that. Okay. So I think LinkedIn is a wonderful tool for prospecting. I get far higher quality clientele out of there, probably because I'm able to access more information. And so, as far as process goes, SOP, I figured this out first myself, right? Then I wrote the SOP and then I assigned it to my assistant, and she does it on my behalf now. So I don't have to, right? Most conversations work in a certain way. She can handle most of that. If something weird comes up, she tells me and I figure it out then. But the exceptions are like once or twice a week. The rest of it is quite normal. Okay. So yes, we do want to look in certain fields, right? In mine, aerospace, space and defense, right? Defense contractors, space companies. I'm going to look, right? Starting there. Now, why would those people hire me? And that has been a question, right? Agencies, right? Agencies who lack systems, agencies who have owners who know they're lacking that dashboard, they're lacking that system, they're lacking proper processes. Their people are coming to them and saying, "Boss, I need this written down. I need the process." They actually want tighter controls, not to be allowed to do whatever they want willy-nilly. Fascinating, right? These are problems, again, I just listed from some agency owners who have hired me in the past. Or our sales process is no good. We know that it needs to be improved. Okay. Those are problems that they admit to having that I could help fix. All right. That's step one. Now, um, how do you see that? Well, I see this in groups, in Alan Sultanic's Nothing Held Back, in Josh Nelson's six-figure agency group. I see agency owners talking about this. I'm going to talk about that because that's sort of the Facebook focus of what I do. But the defense contractors are the same. The owners realize that everything's mushy and slushy and they can't go on the way they've been going because nothing's really written down. They've gotten to 50, 60 people, 70 people. There's a tribal knowledge, and that's not very good, right? It's orally communicated instead of written down. And so when some key person leaves, they're screwed because that expertise, that institutional knowledge leaves with them. Those are problems, right? That people admit to having, that we come in to solve. Now, on the LinkedIn side, people don't necessarily talk about it as much. And that would be where you have to do a bit of uncovering. But on LinkedIn, you can look for size of company, industry, and that's a great place to start, because if you see a revenue range, what have I talked about? Budget, right? Size of a problem. If a person's running a $5 million company or a $50 million company, they're pretty comfortable investing $50,000 to have you come in and solve that $500,000 problem for them. Okay. It's or $5 million problem. They're very comfortable with that, right? 50 million. These people hire people all the time at $50,000 and up. Hiring one more person is not a big deal to them. Excuse me, it's not like the tiny agency where there's 6 people working there and everything's critical. It's a different kind of atmosphere. But anyway, I don't want to get too much off track there. But looking at their revenue situation and discovering the range, right, which helps you with knowing your budget, right? What size of problem am I going to solve here, and how much do I charge, right? You should be doing financial planning on how much money you want to make each year, and you can backfill out of that to how many people do I need to talk to make enough sales to get to that money target. Okay, and nobody does this. I have free content, free money plan content out there that takes you through it, and it's also in my Sales on Fire program, but it's free as well. Every year for the last like 5-6 years, in December I've done something like that. Okay, free video about this stuff. So you're looking for who potentially has the size of problem that they can afford to pay me, right? This goes back to Dan Kennedy too, right? He would say it's better to have a lead that can afford to pay you than a lead who actually has the problem or admits to having the problem, because that other person might be broke and they might have the problem and want you to help, but they can't pay you, right? The other person who has the money and is like, maybe I have the problem or not, they could still hire you on a whim. They could still hire you because I kind of feel like we should take care of that. Okay. So, and on LinkedIn and on Facebook, we're able to look at who is active and what have they posted about recently, right? Reactions, shares, what are they talking about, right? We can see this stuff, and especially on LinkedIn, if you go on somebody's profile, even if they look like they're in the same industry that you want and the business size might be right, but they're not active, I'm not going to chase that person. That person might as well not exist for me, okay? Because they're not looking at that platform. And so I'm not going to be able to get their attention on there. But somebody who is posting on Facebook, who is posting on LinkedIn, I can look and see, and Andrew Anderson, agency guy, okay, who I have had a good conversation with, and he knows who Paul Wilkins is, which most of you don't. Shame on you, I can have a conversation with him that I can't have with other people most of the time. He is talking about the kinds of things, so go have a look, right, that interest me, that show me, okay, here's a guy who's performing at a certain level, all right, and not just namby-pamby fumbling around trying to make a business go, which is where a lot of people are at in these other groups and that. Anyway, looking for what they're talking about. Do they talk about the things that competent business owners talk about, right? If that's your target market, right? If you are a lower budget person who fixes up sloppiness in organizations, okay, you can find that as well. But basically, look at what they're talking about. Make sure that they're talking on that platform, because then they're actually there for you to engage with, and look at what they're writing about, commenting on, sharing, okay? And seeing if that's a fit with the kinds of problems that you're going to solve, right? And this doesn't take very long. This takes like a minute, 2 minutes, per prospect. I said slow down to speed up, right? Yeah, you're not going to be able to spam 50 or 100 people a day. Who cares? Spend an hour and look at making real connections with 20 people. I guarantee you there's a client in there, you keep doing that, it's going to work. And it's going to be a lot easier and a lot more fun, a lot less grinding of the gears to do it this way. Okay. Then you would do your connection request. As a matter of fact, I would comment on their posts if I like them. I see that there's, potential here. What I don't know about is personality fit, and I don't really know necessarily if they have the problem that I could solve, but they're talking about issues that are connected to it that lead me to think so. Maybe that's fine. Okay. They got an organization that's big enough to have problems that warrant the size of my involvement. Their posts aren't vicious, mean-spirited, right? Personality fit issue problems, right? We would look for that. We can identify that pretty easy. This person's pretty argumentative. Do I want them as a client? Probably not, right? If they're going to fight everything that you say and make you prove yourself every single time, rather than accepting you as the expert in your field and then getting on with implementing so that you could help them, right? So there's a lot you can discern from the content that they have put out there, if they have put out. I would engage on a few posts of theirs over the next few days, and then send them a request if they haven't sent you one first, because they're excited. Jason looked at my stuff. I don't know who this guy is, but he's like, he gives a damn about, wow, okay, I'm going to send him a request, right? That happens a lot. But if not, then it's much more receptive, to receiving your outbound request in a couple days, if you do it that way. If you comment, like, and show some personality on their stuff. Okay, I'm going to stop there for this video. Next time we'll look at exactly how that outreach process works. There's a lot to unpack here, but it's fun, and it's pretty easy to keep doing it once you get it into place. Again, I'll remind you, if you're having trouble with accountability in that, go to Wes Schaefer's profile, find that 12 weeks to peak, sign up, get in there, get in the LinkedIn group, start participating, make the outbound calls, get off your butt, and make the end of this year the best that you can make it. I've lined up for it. I've joined it myself for that very reason. I hope to see you inside.